Hey everyone, this is Chris from Noisewire. I'm here today with Loki Lockwood from the Melbourne-based band Velatine. How are you doing today, Loki?
Yeah, I'm great. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So, you're releasing a new single with Holly Purnell, a song "We're Not Suburban." I'd
Yeah.
heard that you wrote that song for Holly in a way to kind of encourage her to embrace some of the recklessness of being a professional musician.
Yeah.
Despite the silence, everyone sings. I was desperate to escape that urban din, staying and saying nothing's wrong, knowing deep down I don't belong. It's a cold.
Yeah, do you mind expanding on that a little bit and talking a little bit about how the song came about?
Well, we sort of when we met, she had told me that she was studying at Box Hill doing music, and it's where I started. So that in itself was sort of like an immediate connection with her, and just the fact that she, a young person engaging with someone that's had experience in the industry, it's somewhat rare. But it was something that I did when I was her age. And when I was 17, I joined my first group and was playing hotels and like regional touring. And those guys are all 10 years my senior. So, but I learnt so much from that experience. And then it's sort of that looking to the next generation up, or not even generation, but just that experience level to get ideas and learn from has sort of always fascinated me. I mean, I just love learning stuff. So, and we talked a little bit about, like what we would, how we learnt things and education, because I've been in education as well. So we just started connecting on a lot of different levels. So I sort of thought about my journey from that point to where I am now. And there's sort of, being a musician, you sort of got to throw everything at it. And if you're not doing that, then you're not really not going to get very far. There's the life experience factor, particularly when it comes to lyric writing. So experiences are the essence in a way, and you sort of can't do that being trapped in a job, trapped in the suburbs. You sort of have to, grasp opportunities and be free to grasp those opportunities. And so it was come on, don't be, what's the undead you're not, as the line for her. So be a little reckless with the life you've got, and embrace what it means to be an artist. It's being an artist is being a risk taker in a huge way,
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. So when you approach a song, like you wrote this song with Holly, I know you've worked with other collaborators. Like, do you write specifically for this collaboration, or this song? It sounds like you did, but in general, do you determine ahead of time who you kind of plan to work with on a song, or does it kind of depend on different factors?
Oh, look, honestly, it's been a struggle to find people that truly connected with what I do. And that's sort of across the board, as far as people in the media goes and stuff. It's been hard to connect. When you do connect with people, they're extremely passionate about it and become like huge supporters. And I've had that all the way along. But as far as singers go, largely it was session singers, just to move the project forward, which would then enable me to find someone like Holly. Yeah. You've got to have the currency sort of to people see that you have potential and want to join you.
Right. Do you feel like collaborating with Holly is kind of the direction you want to continue to go in, or do you want to continue to look to work with other people and kind of expand?
Oh, no, I definitely want to stick. I've been wanting to stick with a singer for a long time, but it's just the way it's fallen.
Yeah.
That I had to get my music out there however I can get it out there. Yeah.
So I know you made a video for We're Not Suburban also. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the concept of that video and like how that production came about, how it was produced?
Very little thought in it. And like at the moment learning, how to actually make videos. It's really interesting. It's really great to have like no one trying to impose their look, their idea. It's coming from your point of view, your heart, and like, oh yeah, let's shoot here. The night stuff, like it's just riddled with bad camera operation. We also had a guy in a car, or some guys in a car, driving back and forth and yelling at Holly the whole time. And it was like sort of really shit. And then there was, way too much backlight and not really knowing what we were doing with the camera because we're just so new at it.
Yeah.
But then you work with what you've got and make it into something that you think looks really cool. And I'm really actually quite happy with the video.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, a very like industrial ethos to kind of do what you can do and kind of take it. And cause I'm noticing the Leibach poster and the Einstein's on the Neubauten poster. So do you feel like that is kind of how you work? Like you create things with what you can create and then kind of let the flaws sort of like just be a part of it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, being around music for so long and it's like the production values and everything can be fixed now.
Yeah.
And that's a real shame. Like I remember it's some years back, but I went through all the records that I used to listen to as a young teenager, which were largely my elder brother's collection. And just the amount of mistakes that because I've been in production for so long, out of tuned instruments, like bum notes here and there on solos, bad timing from drums. All that is now fixed. And, we're just watering down the human element at an alarming rate, which is such a shame, I think, It's the essence of music is the human communication. And to remove that with all these tools is very unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember who was talking about. There was a producer I was listening to, and he was talking about how he always recorded with the band live in the room at the same time, because to him, the whole point was to have the conversation between the people, not just get the parts correct, but the way the parts are played when they're all together. So I totally understand what you mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a record producer, engineer for many years, and that was sort of the way I always recorded, and people came to me because I recorded like that. The core band would perform, and then elements would be added, and those elements might not be able to even be achieved in live, but I think you have to, you treat an album differently to how you treat your live performance. And this goes for Velatine as well. I mean, we're going to start playing live as a laptop band. I'll be playing guitar, but I'm remixing the tracks with the live show in mind, and there'll be more guitar elements in the live show. And I think those things are, it's great. It makes it more fun too.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned you've been working for a long time as a studio engineer and a live sound engineer. So I'm kind of curious. I know you have your own studio, Creepy Hollow Studios. And when you're doing stuff for Velatine, what's kind of the setup in there? Like, do you have anything specific that you bring out for Velatine that you think kind of lends to that sound? Or are there any techniques that you've learned over the years that you think are important to what you're trying to achieve?
I work in Ableton, and I do a lot of sound manipulation. Like I might use fake guitars at times, and then I'll chop them up and reprocess them. There's live guitars on there as well. It depends on my mood. I've always felt that Velatine should not be doing one thing. It can do whatever the hell it wants. It's about what's inspiring you right now, and just go with that. And there's like hundreds of pieces of music, but they're not all good,
right?
And they don't all get developed. But I was thinking, I think it was probably just yesterday, I'm thinking of this riff that's in my head. And this is a piece of music I probably wrote 6 months ago and have not really looked at it. But I know that riff is something special and should be developed. And I will go back to that at some point. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a guitar player primarily? Like, is that where you go when you start writing?
I'm a sort of a shit musician, but this is why, the whole punk movement was so important, that it's the emotion of playing. It's not how good you are playing. I mean, people say that they like my playing, but I'm not that good. But maybe I'm unique.
Right.
And that's why they like it.
Do you so I know you worked with Roland S. Howard for an extended period of time. Did he have any influence over the way you approach working with guitars, or some of that, what you were just talking about, the sort of uniqueness and not really being bound to like the restrictions of like the academic version of music?
But just to clarify, I was Roland's front of house engineer.
Right.
So I worked with him live. Yeah, there was no studio stuff really. But of course, like a unique lyricist and a unique player, and just being around these sorts of people. Like, I've always gravitated to the edge of the fringe of music, like industrial music and like just the weirder things in life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah. Roland, yeah, of course. You know, to work for.
Was there anyone else you worked with in your past? I mean, you had a pretty, like you said, I've seen you say that like a lot of the bands you were a part of, they didn't, you know, that it wasn't recorded as well as history is now. So a lot of it's kind of disappeared. But can you talk at all about anyone else you worked with that was really influential on how you're approaching music now?
Ollie Olsen was a huge influence in my life. You know, he's legendary electronic music guy from Melbourne. Passed away just over a year ago. And I met him, I was pretty young, and we hit it off, and I started doing front of house for him. But then I ended up playing on his studio album, which was when he first returned from the UK. So a lot of the Australians had abandoned Australia and went to London to forge a career, and because they were just not understood in Australia. We're a very sporty, non-art country, I'm afraid to say, and the arts are not supported. So, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but you know, things are a lot easier nowadays. I'm talking to you.
Yeah, globalization. Yeah, I mean, you can get outside of Australia. You don't have to conform to what's acceptable in Australia.
That's right. And that's fabulous because you can really be who you want and connect with people that understand what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, we spoke to Mark Dwyer from the band Buzzcall a while back, and he echoed similar sentiments. He spends a lot of time touring in Europe because it's just not quite as good of a market in Australia. But yeah, he'd mentioned how like he has like an extended family over there now, so it's interesting how he's been able to develop an audience somewhere else, and you know, even though he's based in Australia.
Yeah, it you can see it's feeding back in for him in Australia now.
Yeah,
and you know, like that's sort of what you can hope for, I suppose. I mean, I don't really care. It's Europe's the main target for me at the moment, and it's, you know, largely it's like Germany where we're getting the most listens, and we're getting a lot of support there.
Nice. So let's talk about another single you released with Holly, "Oh See Me the Siren."
Now I've flown the storm to become more beautiful than before. I'll descend into the ocean, relinquish this life moment. See me the siren, no longer undecided.
How did that song come about? Was that another song that you had written specifically for Holly, or was that something you had kicking around that you just decided to develop once you started working with her?
I had just written that. I'd done a remix of "Till Death We Do Art," and she met me where I work. I work at like the local university occasionally as a studio mentor. And so we met there, and she recorded like 3 passes of a remix of that song. And then she came to Creepy Hollow, and the plan was to record that properly. And we started talking, and I showed her that song. I hadn't even done a guide vocal, and she loved the lyrics, she loved the music, and she goes, "I want to record that." So I taught her the vocal line on the spot, And when I started putting it together, it was just like, holy fuck, you know, she is something. I knew she was special, you know, as a vocalist straight up. It took me like 20 seconds of her hearing her voice, and it was just like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, her application connected with me, and then I looked at her socials. You know, I investigated people pretty severely because I knew if it was going to work, it had to work on like the human connection level far more than anything else. But I'm also, you know, I wanted a really great voice, and yeah, she blew me away.
She nails it on that song. I mean, what's interesting to me about it is the way the vocal comes in on that song is not like really traditional. It doesn't like, there's not like this really refined beginning to the vocals. It kind of like mixes in this weird sort of way and then just begins. But where she took it in terms of like the melody and how it was really impressive to me. That like, you know, she was able to just kind of come in without like this hard start and just kind of like create the melody from like this interesting way. I that's what I took from it, at least.
Oh, great. That's great. Like, a lot of people have said they really love the song, but it hasn't really got the traction that I was hoping it might get after Till Death We Do Art. But hey, the business is sort of, you know, it's weird like that.
Yeah.
But we're starting to get our shorts in YouTube have been sort of ramping up, which sort of took me by surprise. And I know that's largely the image that we are portraying, which is something Velatine has really never had before. And so now it's like, okay, well, we need to do more of that. And then on Friday, we're starting to rehearse to play live. And I said, hey, we should film Siren, cut a live clip, and put it on YouTube like this week before Suburban drops, and just try and generate a lot of eyes on the account, and see what happens. So, yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. And, you know, from when you were starting out as a musician, the landscape of how you promote yourself has changed dramatically, right? Like now it's not standing outside a record store passing out flyers. It's gaming algorithms on YouTube or Instagram. Like, how have you adjusted to that world? And how do you feel about that? Like, obviously there's trade-offs, but.
Well, I've come from running a record label. You're aware of that?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So, you know, you have ideas for your artists, but musicians are very shit at getting their shit together and making just sort of bad decisions in a way. So now I answer to myself, and I know, like, I overcommit and reach those commitments all the time. And, you know, it's never been better for an independent artist, but it's the artist that has to, like, do the work. And there's a lot of boxes that you have to get ticked, you know, to move ahead. I live in a town that's incredibly anti-Spotify, yet I think Spotify is a really great platform for the independent musician. There's no doubt about it. And if you get into those, get onto one of their algorithmic pushes, it opens doors. And you're a fool if you don't, like, try and work that angle. But the really you're marketing to the end user. So that end user has to engage with you so quickly, otherwise they've moved to the next one.
Yeah.
Now, I don't subscribe to adjusting a song to do that, but doing like making the mix special and making the words work, like working the song. These things are hugely important, because a whole lot of people might skip it, but that one person that engages with it and tells someone else how great a fucking song it is the way that it builds.
Right.
So it truly comes back to the content. You can't really game that. The content has to be, well, I watch a lot of music marketing dudes, and one of the things they say is you've got to be unique, you've got to stand out, you've got to be recognisable, and you've got to be better than everyone else.
Yeah.
And so it's a huge amount of work, but I love doing it, so it's no problem doing it, you know?
Yeah. So stylistically, in terms of what you're trying to do with Velatine, I know you have a lot of background in much more experimental music. Do you see like bringing more of a industrial element to it ever in the band, or do you kind of like sticking to a more like dark wave kind of goth sort of like sort of style?
It's sort of pop at the moment, you know, like I don't know, like I love hooks. I think, you know, like you can't disregard a great hook, and you can't disregard a great lyric. And when those moments drop, it's like you can't go, oh, it's too commercial, I'm not using it. You embrace it and you play with it. And I mean, they're sort of pop songs, but they've got that industrial undercurrent, so to speak, and definitely with live, I want to make it more, you know, a little bit more abrasive, so that it like it's almost like it draw people in and then educate them a little about that there's more to music than what they are spoon-fed, so to speak. Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of the future for Velatine, I know you said you're going to start playing live soon. What else do you hope to, like, what direction do you want to go in? Do you want to eventually develop like another full album, or do you want to kind of stick to singles? Are you hoping to keep working with Holly?
Look, I mean, in a way, working with Holly, this is the start of the album. It's just, it hasn't been announced and it hasn't got a title at this point, you know. She hasn't finished her school year.
Yeah.
So she's under the pump at the moment. So I'm trying not to, you know, need her. But she finishes in a couple of weeks. So
oh, nice.
That means we'll ramp it up here. But even while she's been studying, you know, we're getting together every week and doing something. So there is another song already recorded. There's other songs ready to record. We've had a couple of plays together as well. And we've like sketched out ideas for the next clip. And, you know, I want another single before the end of the year, sort of regardless of whether We're Not Suburban goes well or not. It's like I just want to release tracks with Holly, and then we'll probably, there's quite a lot of material there that I want to look at that's just sitting there ready to go, and there's demos for it. But then once her voice comes into the picture, it changes how you mix the track. You sort of mix it for the voice.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so the one that we've recorded, her delivery is like quite different to what I initially envisaged, but it's very, very spooky. So that affected the way it was sort of mixed. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us today. I've been really enjoying the stuff you've been putting out, and I look forward to hearing more of it soon.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get over to the US sometime.
Yeah. Definitely let us know if you ever make it out to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, for sure.